We are live. It is Rumboyz After Dark. It is Friday freaking night. It's time to party up. Before I bring on the other three buddies in the back, let's pay a couple bills really quick. Make sure you go to the Stacks app on iOS and the Google Play app to download the Stacks app. Get on there, interact with some other sports fans and other fantasy analysts. But more importantly, go to Monkey Knife Fight. If you do not have an account yet, put in the promo code Rumboyz with a Z, all capitals, RUMBOYZ. Rumboyz will match you up to $100 on your initial deposit. So if you put 50, you'll get an extra 50. If you put 75, you get an extra 75. Put some money down on some bets and make some hard cash. And also go to All 22, the new gaming platform where you get to draft punters, kickers, linemen, tackles, guards, centers, defensive ends, defensive linemen, every position, all 22. You can do a 3-wide set, 2 running back. It's up to you. But other than that, I think it's just time to get into the show. So let's bring on our first guy, the patron saint of fantasy football himself, my buddy, Saint Pat.
Did you know that if you say the word toy lid, it sounds like you're saying the word toilet? I learned that at work like 4 years ago, and I was like, ha ha ha, toilet. Am
I going to have to deal with you all night long? I think I am.
As long as we're live.
Yep.
Or my internet doesn't give out.
Exactly. So next, we got someone who made a giant accomplishment in week 3. He ended up in the top 10 of Fantasy Pros ECR rankings. Your boy, Herms.
Yeah! I did the, say hi. Oh, hello, Rumboyz audience who may or may not remember who I am. But yeah, hello. That was a very wonderful introduction on my part. You nailed it, and then I didn't know what to say. So it's okay. Hi.
Hi, Herms.
And last, toilet.
Yeah, toilet Herms. Say toilet.
Toilet. I mean, I get it. It's there phonetically, you know.
And last but certainly not least, new to the show, new to the crew. Give it up for Big Game James.
What's going on? So going off Pat, did you know that if you sit on a toilet at 11:59 and the clock hits midnight, it's the same shit, different day?
Hey-o.
Oh, no. All right, so real quick in the chat, we got Albert. What is going on, Albert? Of course, we got Jamie in here. Dilly, Jamie.
Dilly.
We got Seard, who says, holy shit, he's right. And then we got Gator. What is up, Gator?
What's up, Gator? It's my boy.
Good old Gator.
One more fun toilet fact. I had to explain to people at work today. Yes, it's an unexpected shit. What do you call it when you go up to the urinal and you think you just have to pee, and then you're in a public bathroom and you realize you have to take a shit? Like, that's like an emergency 3, right? We've all had that happen, right?
I haven't.
That's just a me thing? Well, fuck.
Yeah, you're screwed.
I just got bowel problems.
All right, so let's do the quick one. We got to do a quick cheer. Cheers to me, cheers to you for all the Rumboyz boy and girls, dilly. I know I messed it up, but oh well.
Words are hard, man.
All right, so before we get into our football part of the show, I'm going to hand it over to St. Pat because St. Pat wants to talk about Aaron Judge. St. Pat, floor is yours.
So Aaron Judge tied the AL home run record the other day. What are your guys' thoughts on, does this home run record actually matter there? Or is that because it's not beating out Bonds and Sosa and McGuire's records, doesn't matter? Your guys' thoughts.
I mean, it's the American League record, so I mean, regardless, like, yeah, it matters. But as far as like, it's like, oh, like, because I've seen people be like, oh, he's the new home run king because of the Bloods. It's like, okay, well, look, I mean, like, Major League Baseball didn't do shit to enforce the rules of steroids until about 2005. So the purity argument doesn't really mean anything to me. So it still bonds, but a lot of those guys you mentioned, I mean, those are National League contributors. So it's like for him to do, like, it's still significant in the American League history. So it's like, of course, dude, like it's pretty awesome.
Jamie, what do you think?
Well, for me, man, I kind of stopped watching baseball back when Charlie Sheen retired from Major League. So, but it's still an accomplishment, man. It's a record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, me and Pat kind of talked about this beforehand, but I do agree that it's a record. I do think that it's important. I also do think, when I was telling Pat this, Herms, I know Herms is big into the history of the sport too. I think part of the reason people are making a big deal about this record is the fact that it is a Yankee beating a Yankee. Like I was telling Pat, if that was Ohtani trying to break that record, there's no way, in my opinion, that Maris's family would have been at the games. There's no reason that I mean, yeah, there would still have been some hoopla over it, but because it's Aaron Judge and it's a Yankee beating a Yankee and beating Roger Maris, and how that number was held to a high standard. And then when, like you said, Herms, they didn't do diddly squat about the whole steroid thing. We all got our opinions on that, but the MLB turned a blind eye, so they didn't give a rat's ass. So the reason
if pitchers are doing it too, like, it doesn't, like,
yeah. So my only thing with that is that's part of the reason I think everyone holds a high standard to it. So that's why I think Roger Maris is being brought up again. But that's just what I think. What do you think, Pat?
Okay. Is he frozen?
I think there's some pretty good Kings.
There we go.
Oh, we're back.
There it is. All right. Cool.
There we go.
Do you know sign language?
Kind of back.
That again?
There you are.
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely.
Sorry, so I moved into a new apartment this last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
He's glitchy again.
I'm back. I see you guys moving.
We are at least on like a 5 to 6 second delay.
All right, so
I'm back.
there we go.
There it is. Okay,
Hey!
Yeah. Like, you guys weren't saying anything as well. Like, so I'm like just looking like I got you guys.
No,
back
you're good. You're good.
We were trying to, but it was weird. Go ahead, Pat.
No, the problem is when I moved into this new apartment, the cable box right behind the outlet in the wall doesn't work in my living room, so I can't be hardwired in. So that's shitty. As long as people aren't calling him the home run king for it, like, put some respect on the people that did it. I'm good with it, but just don't use that as he's the best home run hitter. No.
Okay.
Put more than a couple years together and make your way to the 500 home run club, 600 home run club, and then we'll have a real conversation there.
All right. So really quick, is Chuba the guy if C-Mac does not play? Ask Sleepy Refresh.
Oh, I got this one. If
Yes.
Christian McCaffrey doesn't play, the answer is none of them.
Yes.
So
Okay, if CMC doesn't play, does that offense go for 200 total yards?
they have a chance. I don't know that I'd feel good about it, but to not be a pain in the ass. I mean, it would be Deontay Foreman that I would pick up the two, but I don't really like either of them.
Neither.
Like
I would feel their kicker would probably have the most yards.
Probably.
Yeah.
that punter's getting a workout.
The punter, yeah.
And then our boy J Love says, "Y'all boys have a great stream. I would be on if I wasn't getting nailed by a hurricane." And Herms, good to see you, my guy.
Getting nailed by a person.
I think that's what the Zoomers call the, so,
yeah.
Okay, another one real quick. Drake London or Garrett Wilson, full PPR?
Oh God, that's tough because like Pittsburgh is
You're
not
the
very
expert.
scary right now, but also Drake London's share is phenomenal. And if Zach Wilson does end up being under center, like theoretically, it's better than Joe Flacco, but we don't really know. Like we'll see how he looks coming back. So I mean, I have faith in the Jets' offense as a whole against Pittsburgh, which pains me to say, but it's not my fault. DJ Watt got hurt, but now London's he's got such a dominant work share. I think just on the volume alone, I feel good about that.
Yeah, I think if Zach Wilson, he's going to get Elijah more and more involved. So I'm going to fade Wilson right now and go with London. He gets those targets.
I'm going London. That's a sexy target share.
It's a clean sweep.
But well, what happens if they end up benching Zach Wilson after the first quarter or two just because he blows, and then Flacco comes back in and he's just throws it to Wilson, then we look like a fool.
I mean, they're not going to start him unless they think Wilson's going to be good to go. Because I mean, honestly, like whether he sucks or not, like they spent such a high draft pick on him. Like they needed to see what happens with all this stuff, and they invested so much in building the offense around him. Like, also, I have to be honest, I don't imagine that he'll do that poorly.
Yeah.
I feel because like they're my favorite team. I love the Steelers, but goddamn, it's so bad right now. It's so bad.
All right, so let's just jump into it. I know it's a tough one, but let's do it. In Thursday night's game, Cincinnati won, but that's not what we really care about right now. Tua got hurt on Sunday of last week with a back injury, came back into the game and won against Buffalo, then got carted off in the second quarter with getting slammed to the ground in a football play. Head hit the ground, went still was motionless for several minutes. There's all kinds of talk about how it was handled and all that. Pat, I'm just going to start off with you. Take it away, my man. What do you think and everything?
I hate being first on this. The first thing I did this morning was mute the words Tua and player safety on my Twitter feed because I so strongly disagreed with how everyone was reacting that in order to save my own sanity, I needed and be able to scroll my Twitter feed, I needed to have those words removed. My initial reaction to seeing the hit last Sunday was that looked bad. After seeing it the second and third time, I was like, that didn't look nearly as bad as it did before. I think if he doesn't stumble, we don't think anything of it. There's checks and balances in the NFL for how the concussion protocol is supposed to be handled, including people in New York that are supposed to respond and pull players off the field if they suspect something. Now, in terms of stumbling, I stumble that same way when my back locks up if I'm sitting on the floor for too long. I get that. I saw it as a back injury. I don't think that Sunday and Thursday are related. And as much as we want to draw comparisons and draw conclusions from the two that, he shouldn't have even been playing, the concussion protocol isn't linear. Stefania Bell has gone on the record many times when talking about injury history on ESPN that concussion, they examine it, they see or find if there are any symptoms. If they still suspect it, they will continue to test for that concussion protocol throughout the week. The next day, Monday morning, he would have been tested for a concussion again. So if he didn't show signs then, didn't show signs Tuesday, didn't show signs Wednesday, like he's good. He's got to be good to go then on the concussion front. So to suspect a full-blown conspiracy theory of the Dolphins knew he had a concussion, the independent doctor on the sideline knew there was a concussion, didn't do anything. New York allowed him to play despite that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist on this. And as much as the hive mind likes to pull in one direction and say this is an ugly situation, I think these two situations are really independent of each other. And it's really, really unfortunate what happened to Tua. I just don't think Sunday made it worse. And I hate that because I hate being like,
yeah.
But I want to believe the best and that people did their due diligence and there's enough checks in place that this wouldn't happen. Now, should there be information from the NFLPA investigation? Sure, look into it, find out everything. But we don't need a bunch of Twitter doctors saying the first one was a concussion without ever having tested anything and examined a patient. I'm not going to tell someone they have cancer because I saw something in the like. No, let the doctors be the doctors. Let the physicians be the physicians. And get well soon, Tua.
Yeah, for sure. Herms, you're up, bud.
So when you see somebody slam their head on the ground like that, it's always a concern, because like whether it's a contact sport or anything, I mean, like there are times where you go out on the weekend and you see somebody get hammered and they eat shit on the sidewalk. Like it's a horrible thing, like nobody ever wants to see that, but especially in a sport like this where just like the inherent nature of everything is so violent. And I mean, before even talking about the Tua part of it all, like this is one of the things that I struggle with so much about being a really big fan of football, because for as much fun as it is to watch the game, there is just like so many things you just have to passively accept about just how brutal and gruesome it is. And like, because like growing up, like as a kid, like you don't really think about that. Like you're not really aware of any of that stuff. So it's like I've talked about it on my podcast before. Like there are times where I think to myself, like, it's a good thing that I got into this when I did, because like if I had been introduced to football as an adult, I'm not sure I'd have much of an interest in it because of shit like this. Like it's, I don't know, like that already sucks enough by itself. But then like as part of, so tying it back into the Tua, because that's literally what the topic is. They mentioned in concussion protocol that there's, and they shared the excerpt of it on the Thursday night. It was either like at the halftime or in the post game, but whatever it was, whenever they put that up there, they pretty specifically note like certain signs that classify somebody as a no-go. And if you're stumbling like that, it could be your back, it could be your brain, or your head or whatever. But like, that's enough of a no-go to the point where he shouldn't have gone back into the game based off of their own parameters. So that's the first issue with the whole thing. And then because concussions are a non-linear thing and it does take time, why the fuck are you throwing the guy back out there 4 days later on Thursday? That's the, so it's like, I'm not going to, because like, yeah, for there to be some sort of like mass conspiracy or whatever, it's just like, obviously probably not. But like what it does show is that there's a difference between protocol and good judgment. Now, there were times when I was younger when I thought drinking and driving was a good idea, that, and I've been open about that in the past. It's not something I'm proud of, but, like I've been pulled over and, do the sobriety test, and I've passed a sobriety test. Doesn't mean I wasn't drunk. It just means that I passed the protocol that they go through to test to see, But at that point, like, there is not a fine line between protocol and good judgment. Even if you do pass some of that stuff, the authoritative figure in that situation should have the wherewithal and presence of mind to be like, okay, like, we're glad you seem fine, but like maybe just like take a seat, do your thing, do whatever. Like that is the responsible thing to do, because we've seen repeated evidence of what happens to players with these types of injuries. So like they weren't going to be able to prove one way or the other, the head, the back, the whatever, like in the tunnel in Miami. This whole thing could have been, at least a huge part of it at least could have been avoided by just exercising caution, having him relax, do the thing, and not throw him out there again 4 days later on a Thursday. So, like, I wish nothing but the best for Tua, obviously, because this is horrible, but there's definitely negligence at minimum at play, and I think that that's really unfortunate. And perhaps this will be another opportunity for the NFL and the NFLPA to revisit what exactly is in play with the protocol. So, I mean, we'll just have to see how that goes, but that's kind of where I'm at with the whole thing.
Got it. Jamie, you're up.
Well, I mean, Pat and Herms covered it all pretty much. They need to investigate, see what actually really happened on Sunday, and then just looking at that. But I want to say, stop with the memes, man. I woke up this morning and I looked at there was 60 messages I had to approve on my Facebook group, and there was at least 10 memes of Tua lay on the ground. There was one referring to him as Stephen Hawkins. It's stop that, man. I instantly just deleted it, booted the guy who tried to post it. It's not funny. This is a man's life.
Yeah, so what I think, I agree with Herms. I agree with Pat. I mean, you guys all said it. Jamie was on live when I was watching the game.
Yeah.
Jamie knows that I did not. I had to get off camera for how long, Jamie? 5-10 minutes?
At least 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. When it looked like he was, I know there's contradicting stories, whatever. But when it looked like he was having a partial seizure on the field, that took me for a ride for personal reasons. But I do agree. I did think it was a head injury, Pat. I understand what you're saying. But just from initial thought, I did think it was a head injury. Even with the stumble, I still thought it was a head injury. But to me, the thing that resonates with me, what Herm said, is the fact that the game was only 3.5 days later from the injury. That's why I was like, there's no way this guy's going to play. There's no way he's only
I think the hardest thing, though, is if there's no label of the concussion, if he passed the concussion protocol, why does it matter 4 days later that he had that? Because it's not on the injury report.
But did they even test him properly?
Your upper back is also your spine, fam.
Yeah,
it is. But you say no. I'm saying you can't say he shouldn't have played for a concussion if the test showed that there was no concussion.
I see what Pat's saying. Pat's saying they called it no concussion, so you can't say 3 days for a head injury.
Yeah,
if they did that part of the back, bro, ugh.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, we see.
I've had neck and back issues. I
mean, I'm sitting here bent over right now
for my neck as a 13-year-old. It's
not fun. Yeah, so just to close out what I'm thinking, and I'm going to throw it around real quick because I've heard different thoughts real quick. This guy better not play for a month. And I heard, he could play in 2 weeks. I mean, do we all agree that he shouldn't play for 3 weeks to a month at minimum?
I say longer.
I know.
Let the man rest.
I'm just saying minimum a month.
Even if it takes him the whole year. Which I don't see that happening, but still, just let the man rest until he's 100%.
I don't know how you enforce that.
I don't either.
Because
they're in a position to win.
It comes down to people checking it, independent doctors clearing him. That's what it ultimately has to come down to. Yep. And ideally, that's what happened on Sunday. So I don't know what ends up happening. Mm-hmm. I just hope he heals well, and I hope that's not the last of Tua that we see.
I agree.
Him riding the plane home leads me to believe that it won't be the last of Tua.
I mean, I hope we see him on a field again at some point. I mean, hopefully not too soon, but it'd be cool. But honestly, if we woke up on tomorrow morning or Monday morning or whatever, sometime next week, and he just decides hey, between what happened with my hip and some of this stuff, I think I just need to call it quits. I'd be okay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, truly whatever he wants to do, I think is, and also I won't go too deep with this, but just because it does kind of intersect with Maryland, his quarterback, his brother quarterback, is the, throws the ball for the Terrapins. I mean, he's definitely somebody that I feel also extremely bad for, because he has to possibly play in a game himself tomorrow at the college level. So, just also want to, obviously, because, bless up for Tua and his family, but especially because it's, I'm sure, an extremely scary situation for his brother who does the same thing at the college level to go out there and play a few days later. So that's definitely something that I'm going to be watching for. And honestly, if I think Taulia is his brother's name, right? Yeah. If he decides not to suit up tomorrow, then, you know, Godspeed. I completely get it. You know, just
he's safe from Michigan State's pass rush.
I don't know enough about college football to know if that was a good one, but there you go.
Michigan State's not looking too good.
Michigan State not right now. Not
they're supposed to be better, and they've got their ass handed.
They pooped the bed.
That's never good. That's always a very smelly situation.
All right, so make sure if you're in the comments or in the chat to go comment, like, and subscribe. We're gonna get to the next comment, and Jamie, you are our next topic, and Jamie, you are up first. So there are plenty of players that have underperformed so far this season. Who is a player that you haven't given up on yet, but if they do not perform in week 4, you are ready to give up on them? Go for it, Jamie.
All right, this is one of the top talents in the league at receiver, and I'm pretty sure you guys know who I'm going to say is DJ Moore. In 3 games, he's only had 18 targets with 7 receptions, 88 yards. Luckily, he got 1 touchdown, but that touchdown is actually 1/4 of his career's average. So that's a good sign, right? But on a bad note, like the past 2 years, he averaged 14 points a game. Now he's only averaging, I think it was 7.5 to 8, something like that, per game. And the last 2 years, he was that wide receiver 23 to 28, and we look at him as being a top 12 guy, talent-wise. Right now, he's at wide receiver 68 in PPR leagues. I think it's more of a Baker problem than it is a DJ Moore problem.
Oh, boy.
It's got to be. Because, I mean, he performed last year with Sam Darnold. I mean...
You made Darnold look elite weeks 1 through 3.
Is that a snide on me there, buddy?
No, that's just a snide on Darnold.
Well, so
if the shoe fits, wear it, Cinderella.
For Jamie, who doesn't know, Herms was here then. I was running around the kitchen table, victory lapping Sam Darnold for the first 3 weeks last year.
It was a good time.
It was very good.
So, I mean, like, at what point do they put Darnold in if Baker keeps shitting the bed?
He's on the IR.
Right? I mean, come on, like, I mean, they're in second place in the NFC South, so they're still in it as of right now. But, I mean, it's a lot of ugly play.
Yeah.
And, like, that schedule moving forward isn't pretty. So, you got to get your best playmakers involved.
Dude, did you see... we were about to say the same thing. Okay, dude, that video, man, just like, like, dude, just because like they asked him, like they asked DJ Moore kind of just like his vibes, like what's going on, thinking about all that stuff, and he's just like talking about, essentially in so many words, just being like, motherfucker, I'm always open.
Matt Rule made a comment that the wide receivers need to help Baker and get open. It's not just Baker. And DJ Moore said, 1 yard, half yard, or 2 yards. That's open in the NFL.
Yeah, dude, like, man, but like, not only the words, but just like the look
on his face.
Just like, he's not having it. He is not having it at all.
Someone that we know in the industry literally put, this guy needs a trade.
But going into draft season, when Baker went over to the Panthers, that instantly elevated DJ Moore. Everyone was saying, oh, DJ Moore's going up in the ranks. I mean, what have we seen?
Theoretically, it made sense, but you know, because it kind of reminds me of just like the little joke that I made earlier when the person in the comments was asking about, you know, like what happened. Like, so, like when I said if McCaffrey's out, the answer is nobody. I literally mean nobody, not just running backs. Like, because DJ Moore is included in that. It's just like the whole thing right now is very frustrating.
Not Ian Thomas.
If you're playing in a tight end only league where you start 6 of them, like fine, like I guess. But other than that, not.
Well, I mean, who would have thought by week 4 you're actually contemplating like, do I start DJ Moore in my last flex position?
I agree.
Like,
so Herm's your guy.
Dude, okay, so you said haven't given up on yet. I'm like 80% given up on this, like probably going to be 100% giving up on this. And I talked about this on my most recent episode of my podcast because just, the whole premise of what we try to talk about sometimes is just like taking a look at things that happened last week that'll be interesting moving forward and just kind of trying to tie the balance between the past and the future and the whatnot. That was just a description of every fantasy football show. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, I'm great at this. I talked about the fact. Yeah, but so you look at all the things that we were excited about from the offseason, and I think if we took a straw poll of whoever from throughout the fantasy community, it would be close to the top, if not the very top of the list. Russell Wilson going to Denver, because we were talking about even on Rumboyz, like all last year, we were just sitting there and talking like hype. This like, well, what if Rodgers goes there? What if who goes there? Because look at those weapons. Oh, it's going to be great. And then Russ shows up. Nathaniel Hackett gets the job. Oh, it'll be wonderful. No, it wasn't. And the really unfortunate thing about Russell Wilson, not just this year, but over the last few years especially, is that one of the greatest assets that he had was his mobility, not only just from like running the ball from that standpoint, but also rolling out, doing the whole boot thing and just getting his vision from there, because that is where his best visibility of the field came from whenever he would roll out and look for his targets that way. He's lost a step or two in his just his legs in general. And he has not been doing that as much over the last few years as it started to dwindle. So we sit here and we say like, oh, they got to let Russ cook. It's like, well, I don't know if he really has this, the utensils and the ingredients necessarily anymore. Like there's a very decent chance that is not the case, because I believe it was entering this week, he was QB 23, 24 or something like that in fantasy. And it's like, bro, like Cortland Sutton, Judy, Okwuegbunam, like we were all so excited about this. Look at those running backs. It's, between his immobility, his inability to read, anything. And then also because it's not all on him, Nathaniel Hackett's clock management skills, situational awareness as from a play calling perspective, and just it is aggressively horrible. Because we were all just like, oh, he's coming over from Green Bay, he was working with Aaron Rodgers. Like, oh, it's like, okay, cool. We were hoping that LaFleur was going to rub off on him a little bit, but we're seeing the Nathaniel Hackett that was Blake Bortles' offensive coordinator as part of the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was not a very creative offense either. So the whole thing's kind of a mess, man. And I guess partially Russell Wilson, but also I got to throw Jerry Jeudy into it, because he's another one of those like the only player I really have confidence in this offense is, I mean, Javonte Williams is really good, but Melvin Gordon kind of frustrates things. So it's really just like Javonte and Cortland Sutton, because he's basically doing what we expected him to do anyway. He's a high A dot, go up there, do the whole thing, whatever type of receiver, and he's performing okay. But like, dude, Denver's got like a week or two left to show me that something's going to change. Otherwise, I'm just like, nope, okay, I'm done.
Pat, do you want to say anything about Nathaniel Hackett, or do you want to go straight into your take?
Aaron Rodgers made Nathaniel Hackett look better.
Boom. There it is.
Hackett's inability with time clock management is actually one of Rodgers' strong suits in terms of his at the line play, his ability to draw teams off sides, get the free play, get the ball off before that, and that extra count of the 0. Russell Wilson has oftentimes throughout his entire career, going back with the Seahawks, had a lot of plays that ran down in the last 3 or 4 seconds and struggled with delays of game there in Seattle to a lesser degree than what we're seeing in Denver, but it still existed for him. So this is a combination of Russ isn't great at time clock management, despite being a 10-year veteran in the league. and has consistently had a slow pace of play. And Nathaniel Hackett's inexperience and super conservative play calling and inability to make decisions quickly and effectively and decisively has led to issue of getting the ball off in crucial times. So that's what I'll say there. I was going to say Jerry Jeudy is one of the guys that is disappointing so far in Denver.
He just needs to stay healthy.
Yep, he needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay on the field.
But hey, well, I know me and Mike talked about this a lot on Tuesday last week, and like Herm said, like the days of Russell Wilson's rushing production is behind him. He needs to rely more on his passing game now. So I'm on the fence of him too, just like you are. We need just kind of be patient with him because this could be just him settling into a new offense, new coach. He needs that passing production. Like I think the first week he had those yards. I think he had over 350 yards, right? So that's a great sign that he can get there. It's just we just can't rely on his rushing anymore. He's not that type of quarterback at 33 years old.
I'm of the mindset that if he does not do well this week, that you don't have to roster him in one quarterback leagues. Like truthfully,
yes. Yeah, I agree.
Let the old men be off your fantasy rosters. Goodbye to Russ. Goodbye to Rodgers. Let Tom Brady go back onto the waiver wire.
Yeah, and it's not really going to hurt you because
options.
Like he was being drafted as like the 8th to 10 quarterback off the board in one QB leagues. So you can go find out Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones, something like that. Someone that'll get you. I mean, Daniel Jones got what, like 90 rushing yards 1 week.
Yeah, man. And like if you look at the top 12 at quarterback right now, you'll notice one thing that is in common with all of them, and they're all about my age or younger. Like that's pretty much just like that, and that's the thing now. And it's like I used to talk about this ad nauseum on this show about my fascination with the talent cycle in the NFL and how we're approaching, especially the other thing.
The running back cliff is gonna be fun.
We're getting so close. I'm so excited about it. It's like, dude,
startup season is gonna be crazy this year.
Startup season is gonna be insane. I'm not a really big zero RB guy for redraft strategy, but let me tell you what, 2023 drafts, that's all I'm doing next year. That's all I'm doing next year. Is like, the value
in Devi. No, Herms in Devi.
Mm-hmm.
That running back, even the guys that we didn't know yet, like Hull from Northwestern, those running backs that are coming up that are like that aren't on rosters yet.
And not only just from like the 23 class, but like 24 has a lot of really interesting people. I mean, Travion Henderson, the whole, but and also like, it's one of the people that's on my campus to Canton team, Jaden Ott from California, dude. Like, dude. It's like a ton of fun stuff going on there. But like, dude, like, man, the old quarterback thing, like, it sucks. But like, also, if you guys like, we all know what the NFL schedule is, but in case viewers are not aware, if you want to see the mid-off of the century, the next Thursday night football game, if I remember correctly, is Russell Wilson versus Matt Ryan. So,
yep, it is.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah! Appointment television. Let's go.
So,
Pat, did you have another guy?
I want to ask one question before we go into my guy. Earlier this offseason, I traded Russell Wilson in my home dynasty league for Derek Carr and something.
Oh no!
Both of those quarterbacks got contract extensions this year. Which one will end up paying off better, Derek Carr's or Russell Wilson's?
Probably Carr's. I mean, all it really took for him was them continuing to add weapons around him, and like, I think they've done an okay job of addressing that to date. I mean, plus, like, we've at least seen evidence that like he can be really good when there's something around him, and it's not like his game was heavily predicated on his legs anyway. So, like, Gator Jake gets it. See,
yeah. That dude's smart. Trust me.
Yeah, he is.
He knows what he's talking about.
Carr ages well. I think ages better in the NFL game than Russ's does.
Mm-hmm.
If Russ loses half a step, that's hurts. If Carr loses half a step, he's still in the pocket.
So Pat, before I upset somebody on this panel, why don't you go?
Someone I'm not fully out on in redraft right now, Travis Etienne.
Thank you.
Travis
'Cause I
Etienne.
own him a lot.
He was probably overdrafted, but that draft value doesn't matter right now. What matters is he's on your team. He's averaging almost 10 yards per target, not per target, per catch, and roughly 8 yards per target. And he's getting at least 3 targets a game. That right there is almost 6 fantasy points. He's not getting to the end zone yet. But what does that? What does no touchdowns mean? Potential.
Yep.
If this is your floor, is your 6 fantasy points just through the air plus whatever rushing you're getting. Last week he got 13 touches. He's got 9 touches on the ground. Like, he's getting those touches. Getting to the end zone, suddenly you're running at 15, 16 points from your running back to your flex. He's got that safe floor that he's not going to burn you by starting him in your flex.
Yeah, what is that?
If he has
the patented Herms Margarita, I always drink it.
If he has a couple more bad games or something, he goes to the end of that bench and you wait it out until he hits in the end zone, and you start seeing that. But I'm rolling with him at least 1 or 2 more weeks.
I was so big on ETN throughout this
Same here.
off-season process, because a lot of what you said is kind of the point of what got us all excited about him in the first place. Is like the potential for that role was there, but the miscalculation on the part of the vast majority of us was that, and I don't think it's bad that we all, for the most part, missed on this, but James Robinson looks fantastic. Considering what tearing his Achilles as late in the year as he did. I mean, very few people I saw were confident enough that he could at least contribute something interesting. I mean, there was enough of a realm of possibility that he could accelerate his timeline back, a la Cam Akers, to be out there and be present on the field. But for him to be this good was like, Jesus, wow, James Robinson, what are you doing? So it's like, dude, man, you're right.
He looks like he's being fired out of a cannon every single play.
I know. It's wild. And but the coolest thing about it is, and to your point, it's not even just ETN receiving the opportunity. It's a lot of the other. It's the passing game itself is really evolving. What Christian Kirk has been able to do is fantastic. What Zay Jones has been able to do, particularly, it's evidence that Doug Peterson came in and unlocked the whole team. So it's for the greater ecosystem of Travis Etienne being that good, on top of what he is already producing on an individual basis, is one of the more encouraging things that I'm so excited about. Definitely.
See, I like what Gator J is saying here, because honestly, going into the season, I had a hot take saying ETN has the talent to be top 5 running back this year if he gets the usage without James Robinson. But James Robinson came in like a cannon, like you said. Who would have thought? So whoever that doctor was that fixed his Achilles, he needs to be the doctor for the whole league and fix everyone's Achilles.
I've never seen that. Anytime a player gets hurt, it'll just be like, hold on, I got my Achilles guy.
Call him up.
Yeah.
The only time I ever seen is remember when Adrian Peterson was being drafted in the 4th, 5th round years ago? Then he came out and he was number 1 overall. It's
yeah, dude.
James Robinson's doing it. Who would have thought?
Herms doesn't know the story. Mike, Herms doesn't know.
Okay, so if you guys weren't watching the screen, I was dying laughing when you brought up James Robinson, and it's not because James Robinson is bad or anything. Pat, go. I can't.
So Herms is in a league with Mike and I.
He doesn't know the story, and it's in the league.
You don't know the full story of what happened.
Lay it on me.
James Robinson was acquired by Mike via trade. He sent his 1st round pick. Yeah.
2022 first. That was it.
Yeah. It was it was going to be a 1.11.
Mm-hmm.
I 3 days earlier had an open trade to the same person for James Robinson with Doug's would be 2.01.
Mm-hmm.
I was also willing to send my first. But that trade sat open for 3 days. And then this person sends to Mike, James Robinson for your first? Mike accepts it while on air with me. And I get the notification like, how did you just do this? I'm not even getting a counter offer. It's literally sat open for the last 72 hours. And then I went to you to get Aaron Jones because I needed another running back.
Because I was going for the championship.
Because we were both just competing. We both like, oh, James Robinson would be a great piece. This guy is rebuilding. Let's go get it.
And he tore his Achilles 1 week after. I had him for 1 week.
So for Mike and I, every time James Robinson gets brought up,
It's
we
just,
think of this 3-day period.
Because he was literally like, how did you go to him and offer him when he was offering me? I go, I didn't go to him. He came to me and said, what about this? And I, not knowing that Pat even had anything going on. And he literally texted me while we're on air going, why did you do that? And I'm all, what are you talking about?
Damn, dude. That's wild.
All right. So Gator J says I'm about to piss somebody off. I don't think I'm going to piss someone off as much as I would have in the preseason if I would have said this person was going to be garbage. And it's not his fault. It's because his offense is inept and that team is stupid. I am sorry, Herms.
Oh, damn. No.
I thought you were going to talk about the Browns.
I've already dropped him in one redraft league. But Cole Kmet.
Oh, wait. Here we go. Oh, yep. There it is. Yep. There we go.
Cole Kmet, who we all were happy about in the offseason.
I'm going to go grab another beer.
We all thought they were finally going to do something. Has only had 2 catches on 5 targets. But here's the problem. When a team averages 15 pass attempts a game in the first 3 games, I don't trust anyone on that offense except the running backs. So it's not Cole Kmet's fault.
Yeah.
If that team doesn't do something, I mean, you can't. I'm sorry. In a position like tight end, Cole Kmet has to be gone if he doesn't turn it around, and I don't think he will because of that offense, not because of the talent.
Anywhere I had him, I already bailed and picked up Tyler Conklin. So
there you go.
Yeah.
It really does suck because, like you said, I mean, the offense, like they only have but a handful of weapons to really work with in any sort of like impactful level, and they're using kind of one of them. And to your point, it's at the running back position. So I mean, like, for those of you out there who had Khalil Herbert on your bench or picked him up off waivers or whatever, it's like kudos because that game on Sunday is going to be fabulous. But like, I mean, I think you could throw Darnell Mooney into this conversation too. I mean, it's not just Cole Kmet either. I mean, like, it's dreadful, man, dude. It's so fucking bleak, man. Like, I mean, we knew they would be bad, but like this level of bad is some shit.
And they still can easily go 3-1.
Yeah, it's so wild.
It's ugly, and like I've seen like TikToks of like people role playing the NFC North, and the Bears are like, "We're here, we're 2-1, we're right there with you, Vikings and Packers. We're the same as you." And it was like,
no, you're not.
In what universe is this team the same? You won a rain game. Congratulations. When skill doesn't matter and it's just about fortitude and just actually, at the end of the day, one good bounce. But, man, that Bears offense. Also, I like what you said about Tyler Conklin. I threw him out there on someone's breakout candidate list back in like May. I was like, Tyler Conklin, like, no, CJ Uzama. I'm like, wait for it. I got a buddy at work who went to college with Conklin. He's like, wait for it. This guy works differently than anyone else I've ever seen. Wait for it. He's more than just a little bit.
Conklin did great on the Vikings, and then when he went to the Jets, like I picked him up on almost all my dynasty leagues that I could. So I have a lot of Conklin just sitting on the end of my bench.
2/4 or Tyler Conklin. I want Tyler Conklin 10 times out of 10. Give me the guy that's at least put up 500 yards and a couple touchdowns.
Yep. And that was splitting. Like he split the tight end position in Minnesota.
Oh, he's gonna be a blocking tight end. No. I'm just like, okay. So then I went and searched something. I was like, yeah, you said you'd rather have Irv Smith over Tyler Conklin. They're both all right, but one's top 10 right now and one's not. He's doing that without much touchdown production.
Yeah,
Again,
so
what does
far.
that mean? What's the theme? That means potential.
Bingo.
So, all right. So, for potential and for paying the ads, paying the bills, we're just going to get straight into a real quick ad. And then, real quick after that, we are back on for the second half. We're just going to do a quick halftime today and keep the party moving. So, dilly dilly. And here is an ad from Gardner Minshew and Monkey Knife.
Dilly.
Let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, there was a monkey knife fight.
And one day they met one team partners in the NFLPA,
It's a match made in the pits of a monkey knife fight.
and everyone lived happily ever after.
Are you listening? This is big.
What is a monkey knife fight?
You know, it's thing monkeys, knives, you get it. Fantasy sports is monkey knife fight. And monkey knife fight is fantasy sports.
Monkey Knife Fight is daily fantasy.
Monkey Knife Fight in the house.
I am Monkey Knife Fight. You are Monkey Knife Fight. We are all Monkey Knife Fight.
Monkey knife fight.
You have the NFLPA behind the company.
It's exciting for me to be a part of fantasy sports.
When I think of fantasy sports, I think of beating all my buddies year in and year out and being able to brag about it.
We're not just partners in it,
We're owners.
and it feels awesome to be an owner.
I challenge you to a monkey knife fight.
We've been saving you a seat at the table, Monkey Knife Fight.
Welcome to the one team and NFLPA family.
Monkey knife fight. Welcome to the family, monkey knife fight.
Welcome to the game, Monkey Knife Fight.
Monkey Knife Fight!
I challenge you to a monkey knife fight.
Monkey Knife Fight!
Monkey knife fight, monkey knife fight, monkey knife fight, monkey knife.
Monkey knife fight. I lost my mojo. I used to be so good at that.
Toilet.
Monkey Knife Fight, 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 Monkey Knife Fight.
Sold!
Dude, I'm so excited to get into Monkey Knife Fight because as soon as I heard about that like a year or two ago, I tried to get in on it and it's illegal in Ohio. I couldn't bet. So didn't you say, Pat, that it's coming on January 1st? The betting in Ohio?
Regular sportsbook betting is coming January 1st.
And it doesn't involve Monkey Knife Fight? Still?
I don't know for sure because
I'm going to check that out.
it runs into player props. Monkey Knife Fight may have that on their website or
Yeah, they'll be able to tell you.
some FAQs.
So we are back for the second half. Thank you for staying and joining. Go like and subscribe. And since the wife just got me some more tea, dilly dilly. All right. So for the next topic, we're going to start with you, Patrick.
That's me.
There are 4 divisional games this week. They are the Rams and the Niners, Denver and the Raiders, Tennessee and the Colts. What a great matchup that is.
Oh, yeah.
And Washington versus Dallas. Which matchup, in your opinion, which team in any of those matchups needs to win the most and why?
Vegas. Vegas is 0-3. Do they want to be the only 0-4 team? No. If that fan base rallied behind that team last year, they were in it every game into overtime, like 3 weeks in a row of, all right, we got this, nail biters. We're hitting these deep balls to no-name wide receivers to force overtime, and and they made it work. Now they've got one of the best wide receivers in the league, and they're not throwing him the ball.
Yep.
Devontae Adams' usage last Sunday was abysmal. It was pathetic. Like, if you spend that much money on a car and refuse to drive it for any purpose, they'd think you were foolish. They'd take it away from you. Send him back to Green Bay. At least there you'll get targets. Doesn't matter who's covering him. Get him the damn ball.
If you have a player that's
right there.
good, like, yeah,
He's
like
right there.
bingo.
Give him the damn ball. He looks fine in black. I hate seeing it, but he looks fine in black. Just throw him the ball.
Herms,
You don't need to throw Matt Collins. You don't need to throw a wide receiver 4 from Miami's the ball 10 times.
Herms, why don't you go before I have to hear throw him the damn ball one more time?
Throw him the damn ball.
So,
Wait, time out. Before you go, if you don't mind, I want to go next because I'm on the opposite of that. I'm going to go Denver. Denver is in a must-win because with how bad they've been playing, and if they can go 3-1 in that division, they keep up with the Chiefs, they're going to be in a good spot, especially if Russell Wilson, like we talked about earlier, can kind of settle in, get going later in the season. That'll put them in that playoff contention. They could possibly even win over the Chiefs or just put them in a wild card situation. And then with the banged up Chargers, like I don't see them winning this week or next week until Herbert gets fully healthy.
They're in a difficult spot, man. Yeah.
So Denver, if Denver wins,
Houston.
Well, no, if Denver wins, then that just puts them right up on top, like right with the Chiefs, man.
And Houston is capable of pounding the ball in the run game against them to run out the clock and potentially at least keep it close. Like I
think they'll keep it close. I just don't think they'll win.
They might. I mean, like, dude, the AFC West as it stands right now, I mean, like, you know, like Mike, fortunately, as your fandom, you're removed from this situation somewhat, luckily, but only somewhat. I mean, there's still things that your boys have to figure out, but it's it's the equivalent of watching a boxing match, in which case, you know, like you're a few rounds into the fight, everybody's taking their blows, but people are starting to get dizzy, and you don't want to be the first boxer to hit the floor, you know, like, because when you get knocked down, like, even if you get back up again, like, dude, like, you've already been behind. Yeah, you've already been down. You're already shaking a little bit. Like, that's hard to come back from.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you know, like, I'm not going to go with the same game here, but you both make excellent points because it's like, it's getting late pretty early for that entire division. It's a mess. Like, and also, like, I know you said you didn't want to hear it again, but St. Pat, I'm with you. Just throw him the damn ball. Like, I get that Hunter Renfro's been out and they have to get a little creative, but you make this deal for Devontae Adams and you do what? Like, come on. But you're right, dude. Like, it's baffling. It's mind-boggling.
And we don't have to draft any more guys in the first round. They're going to go to jail or get released.
I mean, but like, dude. Oh yes.
Sorry, I had to.
I'm just saying they need to start. They need to start designing plays for Adams, just like Green Bay did. Like Adams had like 90% target share or some crap like high, but what are they doing over there?
Adams knew the ball wasn't coming to him. Did you watch Adams' body language half the game?
He looked the other way half the play.
He wasn't paying attention. He was late jumping as the play was called, as the snap was called. Like, he was slow.
He wasn't trying his little jab step because he knew he didn't give a shit.
Why do a jab step if the ball's not coming your way?
Yeah. So speaking of jabs,
working for anything, like it was ugly.
Speaking of jabs, Herms, throw your punch.
Yes. Okay. So on behalf
of a joke,
Ayo. But there was a pretty good opportunity for one there. That would have been. Oh, damn! If I'd have been quick,
he's down in Tampa Bay, so
that is true. Hey, yeah, well, I mean, Robbie's not here, so somebody kind of has to do it. The Commanders, man, I got, like, for real. Like, let's see. Okay, look, like. It's well established for longtime viewers of the Rumboyz After Dark program. I too am from that area of the country. Got the Maryland flag behind me. Like, fortunately, I wasn't forced to, be a Commanders fan. I was, I'm the product of people from Northwest Pennsylvania. So fortunately, I got the Steelers. But I still watched them. I still felt every heartbreak from watching that team growing up. But it's ugly. Carson Wentz has not been the best, but what is interesting is that they're at least giving him the firepower and authority to just boom, 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 throw the ball a bunch. And it's interesting how they were able to get Curtis Samuel involved in the role that he's in. Like, he's been super effective with that. And at some point, things have to break right for Terry McLaurin, but he's drawing the toughest coverage. So, I mean, like, it's not, but either what they really have going for them here is an opportunity to right the ship off of the horrible performance that they had, bounce back, and they at least have key pieces coming back on the horizon. Chase Young will be back at some point very soon. And the minute that you get somebody like that back on your defense, you know things are going to get kicked into high gear. And then also, for as good as Antonio Gibson has been to date, it would be wonderful to add the dimension of Brian Robinson on top of that and really get that going. So what I'm interested to see is if they can capitalize on this opportunity they have to not only just right the ship, but then be able to look forward into week 5, into week 6, and be like, okay, we've gotten through this early part. We've done everything that we need to do for the most part, and we're getting some of these key guys back. Like, a win now is such a critical thing for the course of their season, because look, Philadelphia is the best team in that division. That defense is bonkers good. That secondary is just ridiculous. Like, I feel pretty confident that we know who's going to win that division. That's not really up for debate. But I mean, the NFC is a bit of a weird conference, and there is opportunity for teams to, you know, sneak in toward the bottom part in the playoff bracket. And I think the Commanders are still in a position to potentially be one of them. Now, would I count on that? No, because I have 27 years worth of experience to know that betting on the Commanders to do well is a horrible idea. But like, it's at least
year.
Yeah, there you go. So it's fresh start, you know, exactly. It's like, who are these guys? Never heard of them before, you know. It's like, yeah, like, you know, dude, I think this is a really big game for them in a division that's always goat rodeo. So, like, you know, I'm curious to see how that works out for them.
All right, so Jamie's already gone.
Yep.
I was going back and forth all day. What I thought this was going to be a topic. I was going back and forth on a couple. Before I give my actual take, I just want to say Tennessee and Indy, they both need to win because that division sucks, and Jacksonville's going to win it.
Hey-o.
Okay, so my actual take, and hear me out because I don't normally talk about this team, and it's in the game that we've already discussed. I think it's a must-win for the Dallas Cowboys, and here's the reason why. They're 2-1, but the reason it's a must-win is and it's exactly the reason one of the reasons Herm stated. That conference in general, the NFC is a crazy conference, and the Eagles are starting to run away with that division. If they go 2-2, I'm afraid that Jerry Jones is going to get on the phone and say, we need to play Dak right now.
He's not ready.
That is bad for that team and bad for that hand and bad for the player.
Yeah.
If Cooper Rush pulls it out and they go 3-1 with Cooper Rush, that might give them another week or 2 weeks to be able to give Dak more time because Dak needs the time. We already saw what happened. I know it's a little bit different, but we already saw what happened. Russell Wilson, we've already talked about for different reasons. But when Russell Wilson first came back from his finger injury, he was not Russ yet. He was not cooking.
It was a big yikes.
And I'm afraid that Dak is going to be even more of a yikes. And he's been out. Gallup is coming back. There's CD and all that. But with Gallup coming back, you still haven't had the report yet because he was out all offseason with his ACL. Then Dak gets hurt. You don't need to rush him back. So for that reason, and Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones, I think Dallas is a team that needs the win more than anybody else.
Vibes.
Agree.
Cooper
And
Rush,
I think they will win.
Cooper Rush, former Central Michigan graduate. You know who else graduated from Central Michigan? We already talked about him on the show.
Conklin.
Hold on.
Conklin!
Hey, there you go.
Everything comes full
Hey,
circle.
you know who's going to graduate from Central Michigan unless he transfers and be a third-round back Holy
Lou Nichols.
shit. Lou Nichols is on my Debbie squad.
Let's go, dude. I'm a big,
You know,
smaller guy, but goddamn, he really
I
has
want
some
him to
juice.
go.
Like looking ahead to your rookie draft people. I mean, like, hey, like
Lou
keep an eye on
Nichols,
Lou
Lou
Nichols. He's a very, very interesting prospect.
now, do you guys know who the best tire salesman in Central Michigan is?
Tyler Conklin.
Jeff Janis.
Oh shit!
Oh, yeah.
Good for him. All right, yeah. Look at that. Oh, man. Shout out Central Michigan, just all across the What it's tonight is a very big
Conklin
night
and
for
Rush
Central
played
Michigan.
together at Central too.
Oh, look at everything just tying together.
They all play together.
All right, so we're going to go to another topic. I'm switching the order just a little bit. We're going to start with Jamie on this one. Today was Injury City. If you had your sleeper app open, hopefully you weren't at work or somewhere where it just went off for like 10 straight minutes. We had Michael Thomas, Mac Jones, DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, Hunter Renfrow, and I know I'm probably missing more, so if I am, feel free and jump in, that were ruled out for Sunday's action. What player is the most detrimental for their team to lose? If you want to spin this fantasy, go ahead or reel. It's up to you. Jamie, you're up.
Okay, so it's got to be St. Brown. Obviously, he was the best receiver on that team from here for first 3 weeks. Losing him, like that leaves what, Josh Reynolds and DJ Chark. Do you guys even know who the third receiver
Khalif
is?
Raymond.
Khalif Raymond?
Also, Quintez Cephas is a.
Okay, well,
You're playing DFS in the game.
Yes.
Cephas on your radar. He's been returning punts, but he was solid last year before he got injured.
He's a good player.
Is
He's
he
a good
minimum? I think he's like
Probably.
37, right? Yeah.
but still, those are like number 3, number 4s.
Yeah.
On an NFL team. So you don't have a true number 1 playing right now because St. Brown's out. You don't have Jameson Williams yet. So it's got to be him. Like I'm fading golf in all my leagues. Last week I was all on golf. I was sitting Brady for golf. I was sitting Russell Wilson for golf. This week I'm actually going to start Brady over golf and Russell Wilson over golf. Just can't trust them. So that's my take, man. That's it. It's got to be him.
Herms. Space Jam it away.
100%. Yeah. Also, speaking of Space Jam, just a quick RIP to Coolio. Okay,
Yep,
just like
RIP.
got to throw that out there. Like not only like Gangster's Paradise, wonderful song. The Keenan and Kel theme song, also just a wonderful song. But Hit 'Em High, the Monstars anthem. All right,
I used to do a dance to that with my buddy. Like we hit him high and then go low.
Dude, such a great. To Be Real, Coolio, Method Man. Dude, wonderful song, big fan. What was the question? Oh, yeah. Okay. So the biggest one, dude, I don't think you put it on the list, but Andy Dalton is supposed to start.
As soon as you said that,
like that, dude. I mean, honestly, like, man, what a nightmare. Like, okay, so like, cool. I'm really glad that everything has worked out for Chris Olave because we've talked like, and by we I just mean like everybody in fantasy.
The consensus.
These rookie receivers have done a fabulous job. Those of you who gave up too early on somebody like an Olave or a Burks or whatever, the fact that Garrett Wilson was even available on people's waiver wires was mind-boggling to me. So just like that's been a feel-good story. Big fan of that. Some of the early returns for Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry, though inconsistent, still pretty cool. You know, like it's interesting to see that passing attack was okay for a little bit there, but like after week 1, it skidded like really bad. And dude, it's going to be tough to get yourself back on course with some of the issues that you've already had, especially traveling overseas to play an international game, having to deal with all of that and not having your starting quarterback. Like, geez, these are probably the most suboptimal circumstances you could really be dealing with. And, you know, like Gator J points out in the comments, you know, like hopefully Alvin Kamara will catch passes, but like that's been a super frustrating thing for me, especially because my main home league of record, and I won't go too long about it because obviously nobody cares about my leagues per se, but like in my home league of record, it's been a keeper league for a long time. I've had Alvin Kamara for basically his entire career on that team, so I'm very personally and emotionally attached to the success of Kamara, and boy, has that been frustrating for me so far. So, like, dude, like, yeah, like Thomas probably not being in the fold, yeah, that does suck, but especially being down Winston, Like, bro, dude, because we were talking about earlier, like that division is still tight enough to the point where like nobody's really out of it yet. And like if they end up in this sort of situation where they flop over in the UK, then like, goddamn, sorry, Saints fans, because like, oh boy, that's a nightmare. That's the one I'm most worried about.
Yeah, and then with Dalton in, like that hurts Olave because Olave was getting how many air yards per game?
Yeah, home
and that ain't gonna happen with Dalton. And I was excited about Olave. I was trying to trade for him like last week.
I mean, Dalton did okay in supporting Mooney last year in Chicago, so like maybe it's not going to be like as bad as we're thinking, but there's still a clear step down between the two. You know, I mean, it makes me so sad. I was actually thinking about waking up to watch that game. I was seriously considering that. I'm definitely sleeping in now. I don't give a shit.
Wait, hold on, Herms. I know me and you know each other well enough that I know your sleep schedule. However, I don't want to talk shit about that at all. Because for me to wake up to watch that game, the game starts at 6:30 a.m.
That is true. That is very true. Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel so bad for people. Because, like, you already have to wake up early enough to catch our 1 o'clock games.
Regular football starts at 10.
Yeah. So you do it like.
At least we get to sleep until 9.
Yeah, you know, so we have certain things going for us. But, like, man, like, as cool as it is that they're taking the game to international sites, like, I don't understand how anybody past the central time zone feels the need to wake up for it. Like,
Picture living in Hawaii. Monday Night Football is at 2:38 in the afternoon.
Wow. Woo! That'd actually be pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
if you have a job that lets you. Games. Yeah, you could all-nighter. All right, Pat, who's your injury of the week? Unfortunate injury of the week.
Injury of the week. It's a guy that's actually got 2 full practices this week. And in that same London game, the fact that he's playing Dalvin Cook. All right. Dalvin Cook did his I fumbled, so therefore I have to go out injured routine. It'll happen 2 more times this year. If you blink and miss it, don't worry. It's coming by week 10. He's going to do that again. But he's going to fumble, say he's injured. It might be a knee, it might be an ankle, it might be a quad, shoulder, elbow, something. But it'll be one of those things. But he's going to play. But Herms was talking about Dalton playing quarterback. Yes, and it got me thinking, there's someone else who's healthy, and he's back. And now has tight end eligibility again.
Oh, God, no, I knew it. I was hoping someone would up.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Do it.
Outside of the deepest league.
Hill.
I mean,
if you're a tight end.
Someone didn't ask. Okay, so someone asked today, do I start Tyson Hill or Tyler Conklin? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Start Tyler Conklin.
Yeah.
Of course you do that.
But if you're looking at DFS in this game.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Taysom Hill at 9K.
No,
in the head-to-head.
You're right.
Oh, that's spicy.
You're right.
Because he could throw that TD pass. He can run. I would take it any over of more than 40 yards. But
he's only going to get 16 snaps.
That's all he needs.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
He's right.
They know it's going to happen. You know he's doing something.
Too risky though.
Not without Jameis, not without Michael Thomas.
Yeah, you're kind of right. Now you're going to make me rethink this.
What is that offense?
In DFS,
Kamara.
In DFS, I agree 100% with Pat. It's scary, but I agree, Pat.
It's a good contrarian play if you're going to go for that type of. I get that, you know. But
I completely.
In a conventional fantasy situation,
is that a cash play or a tournament play?
It's it'd be showdown probably because usually the Minnesota game being what do you call it? It's not probably good. It's not on the main slate.
Yeah, but it'd be an individual game. So you're playing things like, what do you? I think you go potentially just Taysom and Olave and fill it out with
Vikings.
Like Madison's overpriced right now as hell in that game. He's at 13K.
Well, he's overpriced because they thought,
and he hasn't come back down.
Yeah.
I would even like throw in like a KJ Osborne. Like
I like Osborne this week, actually.
I think Thielen's time's done as clear too.
And then Jefferson's getting covered by
Lattimore.
Yeah. Yep.
I need to see Jefferson break back out again.
Oh, he will.
He's going to.
He's going to be that first round pick that we all seen.
We had a great week 1 where he caught almost 200 yards, and then followed up with about 50 yards in the last 2 weeks total.
All right. So before I give my take, I'm going to throw this question to Herms. Josh Palmer, is he a good streaming option this week with Keenan Allen out?
Oh yeah, his Guyton's out too.
Yeah, like it's good insofar as like there will be opportunity for him, yes, but as was alluded to earlier, we don't know exactly how Justin Herbert's going to look. So, I mean, from that standpoint, like, yes, he'll have opportunity and be fine as far as that goes. And it's a pretty easy matchup, all things considered, but I do nervous. I do nervous. There we go. I do feel nervous about there you go. I'm a professional, guys. But like the guy throwing him the ball. I mean, like, dude, because like, bro, when we were going back and forth, you know, the early part of like Sunday afternoons, being like, okay, well, is Chase Daniel starting? Because I heard a report from this guy on Twitter, blah, blah, and then it ended up being like, he did not look like himself. Like, that is the one thing I would be a little bit concerned about. But like, yeah, I mean, as far as a plug-and-play Chargers receiver goes, it definitely would be Palmer. There's a reason I've held on to him on a lot of my benches.
Yeah, I do. I have him too.
So let's do this one really quick. I'll throw it to Jamie and then Pat real quick. Before I go, what's up, fellas? Madison, which I think we already know we're going to say no on Madison more than likely. Madison, Michael Carter, or Travis Etienne?
You can't really go Madison if Cook's playing. Michael Carter, yeah. I think it's going to be a Breece Hall week, so I'm kind of trying to fade Michael Carter. And I'm pretty sure Herms was saying earlier about Etienne. It's going to come. You got to play Etienne, man.
Yeah, I think Etienne's the play there.
I think it is too.
I feel bad for you that you got those 3 running backs as your potential flex in week.
Well, Etienne's a good flex though, man. You can't.
He's a good flex, but if that's your decision that you're at right now.
Yeah,
that's
Carter's
a spot to be in as a roster.
Carter's involvement has been going down and down. Breece Hall has just been ramping further and further up. The changing of the guard was going to happen sooner rather than later.
I thought it was going to be like week 6 and beyond, but it's been happening sooner.
Typically after a bye week or something for a lot of rookie running backs, we see some of that. But like
Wilson coming back in, I think they want to see Wilson with Breece Hall get those connections, get those reps, but maybe there's a chance that Michael Carter gets a few extra reps because he's more familiar with Wilson than.
And also, like, look, if
you're those catches,
anything could happen.
If you're back into a corner with either of the Jets running backs, to go back to something that I said a little bit earlier, I mean, like, I hate to say it about my boys, but like, look, dude, the Steelers defense has not been that good. We're not a good football team right now.
I'm in a deep dynasty league, and I have Breece Hall and Michael Carter. And I'm actually thinking about starting them both just because I have to.
There are worse ideas. There are several worse ideas. Honestly, I feel oh God, I'm not looking forward to that game. It's going to make me so sad. Like I'm going to stop myself because if I keep going, I'm going to spiral out and talk about Kenny Pickett, and I can't do that. Not for our viewers. Can't do that.
So before we jump into our last topic, real quick, the injury that bugs me the most this week, and I'm spinning it forward to the future, not this week purely. David Montgomery being out is the biggest injury to me, and here's why. Here's why. It's because Khalil Herbert's going to take that number 1 job and not let David get it back.
See, I was going to bring that up as an opposite of that because I was thinking Khalil Herbert right now he's in my like top 12 with Montgomery out. When have we ever ranked Montgomery in the top 12 this year? Never. No, I mean, so when you brought up the topic, I'm like, well, what's an opposite of it? It's Montgomery.
Yeah, I think Monty's on his And that's why I traded away Montgomery in a league, is because I think, and one of our buddies from the internet or from the Twitter sphere was shocked, Mr. Klug was shocked.
Oh,
that
Dave Kluge.
He literally told me in Canton, Herms, that he was shocked that I traded him because me and him have had so many arguments on stream and on Twitter, him being a Bears fan, that I was a Monty fan and he wasn't. But we're going to jump into our last topic, and I am glad that our boy St. Pat is starting this off because he is one of our betting gurus now that he is linked up with BetUS. Yes. Pat, what is your couple of your bets of the week, my man?
That's a good question. It's a really good question. It's a question I have an answer to.
I hope so, because I'm going to Vegas tomorrow.
I know you texted me asking me these questions already, and I said wait and see.
Yep.
But I will give you guys the one that is currently actually pinned to my Twitter. Michigan and Iowa play tomorrow, and the under is at 42. Take the under on that. Those two teams' defenses combined allow for a total of less than 17 points a game.
Do you know what time that game's at?
I believe it's a noon or 3:30 kickoff.
It better be 3:30 because I need to get in town before it's.
Now, Michigan's the way it's divvied up, it'd be set up with the spread of a 26 to 16 game with a 10-point spread.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan's is looking to put up points. I don't think Iowa puts up their 16. I think Michigan covers. But that's where I'm kind of at on that game.
Yep.
But on a more serious note, with NFL football, where did it go? Why? Right here. Give me the Browns money line at -120.
Ooh,
the Browns.
It's not going to be pretty, but they're going to Atlanta.
Thank you.
I'm
a Browns fan, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Herms, if you didn't know.
They're the team in that division that
don't be mad at me.
Honestly, I don't really have objections to the Browns.
I got respect for the Steelers, bro. Like my family came from over there in Pittsburgh, so
yeah, no, I mean my parents are from around Erie, so I mean it's close enough to Cleveland.
Yeah, why not?
It's around.
Yeah, it's like they talk about the rival. It's like, no, dude, we're cool.
The Browns are fine.
Yeah,
it's just the Ravens and the Bengals that can eat.
Yeah, fuck
yeah. Like, those are the ones that I really know.
Anything else?
Sorry, man.
I think that's going to be my one for today. But I think taking the Browns over the Falcons.
Well, I know me and you, Mike, talked about that the other day.
Herms, I know you're not the biggest betting guy, but do you have anything? Or
I do. There are, and you're right. You know, I'm not necessarily the biggest betting guy in the world because sometimes, you know, there's a lot to process. It's really difficult to, you know, figure out like what are all these terms people are talking about. And then when it comes to traditional DFS, you know, you have to like the optimizers, all that stuff, you know. But on Fry Fantasy, you can do your prop bets. And the prop bets are very simple. And if you sign up using promo code HERMS, if your first deposit, you will get a 100% match on your anyway. So just use promo code HERMS on Thrive Fantasy. So I do that column for Fantasy Six Pack. So I do get a little bit into the betting side now, which is you know, for those of you who haven't seen me since my frequent appearances on Rumboyz, I got into the betting thing. So whoa. I looked at it, and it may have changed because it was a couple days ago, but I saw the Ezekiel Elliott receiving yardage prop was like 9.5 yards. So basically all he has to do is catch like one or two passes or something. Like if you're just looking to build, you know, like a little parlay to see what's up with it. Like, bro, dude, I mean, like it's not impossible for Ezekiel Elliott to get 10 receiving yards. Like, honest to God, it's really not that, like, it's such a low bar for him to clear that I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. It's because if they're gonna give you something like that, take the damn bait. Take the damn bait and use promo code HERMS on Thrive Fantasy for 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So there you go.
All right,
Mike. So I dove deep, and I'll be quick. I took.
That's what she said.
So once Boston Scott was rolled out today, I got that message. I looked at Gainwell's over on receiving yards, and it was 11.5. So I'm like, that's a lock with Boston Scott out, because in week 1, Gainwell got over 12 yards receiving. Week 2, he got 11. Week 3, he got 0. But with Scott out, he can get that with one catch. So take the over at 11.5 receiving yards for Gainwell. Lock.
He also
And
had
I mean, that's his skill set,
rush
too,
or catch
The
called
what?
back. He's also had a couple catches called back due to ineligible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
So
definitely,
the plays are there for Gainwell through the passing game.
like,
There's a lot of really close games this week.
They're weird.
Vegas.
yeah, especially with the them playing the Jags, that they're going to keep it close and competitive. They're going to need to pass the ball a little bit.
It's the Doug Peterson revenge opportunity, mind you. So I mean, there's an extra layer of fun on that game. I mean, ooh.
And then I also want to give one extra, like the Olave 59.5 over. Definitely 59.5 for Olave. I know we talked about it earlier, but that seems like a lot.
He could do that.
Yeah, for sure. Like he gets that in like two passes in air yards. If he catches one of them, that's half his receiving yards. Why not? Mike?
Right.
But if you combine them in a parlay, put $20 down, that's a $70 hit right there. Hey, I'm taking that all day.
I got a couple. Pat, you tell me if I'm crazy, but tell me off air, please, because I'm thinking about these might be plays in
Mike
Vegas.
is a crazy.
So I know we kind of talked about a team in this matchup because I think CMC is going to play, but the Carolina's whack. To me, Arizona doesn't have a good defense, so I think Carolina is going to score. But I think Arizona's going to score a shitload. They do on the road. A 43.5 over-under? Over.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
It's
not going to come from the Carolina side.
But I want Arizona money line.
Yep, I definitely want Arizona money line.
It's a 1 point right now in the spread. It's gone back and forth all week. 1.5 one way, one the other way, back and forth.
At a solid one, I would take the extra 5 points and just play it.
What do you mean the extra 5?
I would take the -1.
Yeah. Oh, I would too. Yeah.
Just for the extra little bit of.
Yeah, because it's minus.
It's
right now on
DK, it will just cancel out.
Yeah, right now on DK it's -105 for the -1, but -110. So might take the -1. But the other one that I think Pat's going to tell me I'm crazy. Actually, I think I'm
crazy, man.
I think all you are going to tell me I'm crazy. And I can't remember all the stats that show it, but right now, Lamar Jackson is, if you take out his passing stats, he is the number 10 rushing. He would be the number 10 running back in the league.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If you take his rushing out, he's like the number 3 wideout. Or the number 3 QB. Why am I blah?
Yep.
Also, coming off of that win that loss in Miami, running that many plays, teams that run that many plays don't usually cover, blah, blah, blah. I'm taking Baltimore +3 against Buffalo.
I don't think that's nuts, man. I mean, dude, Lamar, I swear to God, if this man does not get a massive contract extension, what?
And the other thing that I saw on a podcast, I don't remember which pod I listened to a couple today, but they said if you are very, or it was actually Scott Van Pelt said it.
Oh, yeah.
If you are very,
shout out Maryland.
Yeah, if you're very triumphant on who's going to win that game, either Josh Allen or Lamar, either way, you should go bet the same player, the quarterback of that team, to win the MVP, because this is a game that can make that player jump up.
I mean,
before the odds change.
I don't hate that logic. I mean, like, well, especially because, and like to his point and to your point, I mean, like we're reaching it's 17 games now, so I guess it kind of ruins the fractions, but about the quarter-way point.
Yep.
So like
Just
I mean, that's where these things really start to kind of cement themselves a little, or at least the cement starts to dry. It's still a little wet, but it's starting to dry. That was a weird analogy. Anyway, like I don't look, whatever, man. I don't give a shit. So like, because Jalen Hurts is still very much in the conversation himself, but like, I mean, dude, like, I mean, those are, yeah, like, bro. You know what? Fuck it. I'm adding a question just because I want to know who's everybody's MVP picks, because I mean, like that's I don't know. We have enough time left. You said like an hour 45, so I just want to know.
Yeah, I'm going with Josh Allen.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Who's yours
he's got the better weapons.
Pat?
As of right now, give me Jalen Hurts. If he keeps that completion percentage up, you got to take him there.
I think we have completely different answers, because right now mine is Lamar.
And that's how I feel. It can go anywhere.
All right, let's see. Well, what is Herm's?
I'm torn between Jackson and Hurts, and that's kind of what I like. That's why I asked everybody, because it's just like
shit.
I just don't, but because like obviously Hurts, fabulous story, wonderful thing so far, and I was, I've ardently defended Hurts on this program numerous times, so like obviously I'm thrilled to see this, but at the same time, like if we're going to place confidence in one of these, quarterbacks that we've mentioned continuing to push through and persist and keep up this level of production, like that would probably be Lamar, on a relative scale. And like no offense to Josh Allen, obviously, because like he's tremendous, but like there's still a lot of things they really have to figure out, particularly with that backfield. It's something that I'm kind of curious with, because like things were super effective when they decided to get Devin Singletary heavily involved, and I don't know if he's ever really going to see that again, but maybe what does that do for maybe integrating James Cook as time goes along? I don't know. And like, so like I digress, like that's its own mess, but like as they figure that out, like, he'll hover around for a while, but like, dude, I don't know that Tampa has the money flexibility though, because I mean, like, yes, Brady is going to come off because it was only a 2-year deal that he signed or whatever, but like they still did a lot to lock up some of those key defenders, and like the amount of money that you're going to have to, like, it just, DJ Moore, I mean, hey, look, the way he's looking right now, man, just
put some Mooney on it.
Please. Boy, man, right. I hope, I pray to God he just.
Speaking of putting some Mooney on things, do not put some Mooney in your lineups this week. No. But I've got a deal for you guys.
What?
Over the next 2 days, I have a link that will give you $50 and you create a new account with BetUS. Oh. You don't even have to put it in a bank account. You don't have to put it in a credit card info. They will give you that money for free just by signing up using my link.
If I'm able to use that money in Ohio before January 1st, I will do that.
You heard it here, folks.
But it's coming.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, it'll be out. It'll be my pinned tweet. It'll be there for the next 2 days.
I'm definitely going to hit that link.
And it's gone forever.
Nope, I'm going to hit that link.
I want to give you $50.
$50.
You guys have given me so much.
We help. Pat helps us.
That's an eighth of weed.
As someone who doesn't smoke, sure. That makes sense. So a full weed would be $400, right? 150 times
one
8,
weed. Yes, I believe the
weed. That's one weed for free.
I'm going to tell my dad the next time he asked me to help pull weeds. $400 a weed.
All right, so we have had a very cool show. It has been an awesome experience hosting, being crazy, and
love
hosting
Gator
today. Let's get into intros.
Looking like two of there. Sorry,
we're gonna get not intros. We're gonna get into outros. So first off, Jamie has never been on the show, but he's watched. So Jamie, give us your outro.
Oh, that was the big debut. Oh man, well, kudos. First, I mean, come on, dude, that was wonderful.
You can find me on Twitter, Cleveland Big Game at Jamie Parag. Right there, you can see it. But I'm also more on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, come find me at the Fantasy Football Discussion Group. We have 37,000 members, the largest fantasy discussion group on Facebook. I help run it. I'll approve everything that you put up. Just come talk to me, get in my DMs.
That's it. All right. Herms.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for welcoming me back on the Rumboyz After Dark program. If you do not remember who I am, or you've just never seen me before, my name is Herms, and you can follow me on the Twitter machine at HermsNFL. That is where you can find me. Please don't try and find me anywhere else. It's not gonna work out for you. And if you want to see some more of this for some fucking reason, you can read my articles over at fantasysixpack.net. I'm the waiver guru. I've made a lot of really awesome calls so far this year. That's been fun. I also do the Thrive Fantasy Picks. That's a fun time. I also have some really interesting articles over at footballabsurdity.com. I had one that just dropped today talking about like how cool it's been watching Greg Dortch be a wonderful, early season Cinderella, and then also what could possibly happen when Rondale Moore returns. So just like all sorts of stuff like that. And The Lateral Show, a sideways look at fantasy football. It is on the Fantasy Six Pack YouTube channel. You can watch that shit there. And if you just want to listen to it and you don't want to see my ugly mug, it's also a podcast that comes out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever the fuck Anchor puts it, because that's why I signed up for Anchor, because I don't know how to. It's individually uploading it to different places felt like too much of a hassle. So that's what I do. And actually, I'm in Fantasy Pros ECR, so my rankings. You can find those at thelateralff.com. That is my host site for my rankings. I finished in the top 10 last week. I will probably not do that well this week, but fuck it. I get to say that now. So that's a cool accomplishment on my part. I'm Herms.
Go ahead, St. Pat.
All right. Gator was asking where my Twitter is. It's at St. Patrick FF on Twitter, and you can find me with the Rumboyz on Friday nights. Those are the two main places you'll find me. Mike, over to you.
All right, you can find me at Drop the Mic FF. You can also find me on Tuesday nights at Going for Two Live Network. I am the main host for the Fantasy Cheat Sheet. I appreciate Jamie subbed in for a couple weeks when we were short of
last minute.
But
sorry, I wasn't as prepared as I could have been.
But I've had a great blast doing that show. I'm here Friday night, Sunday. I'm here on the Rumboyz Network. And other than that, it's been a great night. Dilly, y'all. See you next time.
Dilly.